Well, here's a horrifying statistic. The North American comic book industry, a multi-billion-dollar cultural force, is failing to attract new readers, and the data says it's hemorrhaging its future. According to industry analysis, while the overall comic book market grew by over 60% in a single year, that growth isn't what you think it is. It's not in the single-issue floppy comics that built Marvel and DC. It's in graphic novels and manga sold in bookstores. So while you're hearing about a healthy industry, some pundits have even said the comic book industry is raining money. The core of it is a rotting, neglected foundation. It's an illusion of health, a magic trick designed to distract you from the terminal diagnosis. Let's get one thing straight. The comic book industry is not healthy and growing in the traditional sense. The idea that everything is fine is a complete delusion, fueled by massive sales of graphic novels and manga in bookstores. The single-issue direct market, the backbone of American comics for decades, is on life support. So when we talk about a booming industry, we're talking about a corpse with new clothes, dressed up for a fancy funeral. The people behind the counter at your local comic shop know this. The creators trying to make a living know this. And the market data, if you're brave enough to look at it, screams this from the rooftops. We are here to listen to the screams, so let's dive in. Let's start with the facts and the data. According to a 2017 study by ICV2 and Comical, sales of single-issue comic books in the North American direct market have been in a steady decline since the mid-2010s, with a significant drop in 2017. Where did that audience go? They found new homes. The real growth, as confirmed by a 2021 report from Publishers Weekly and NPD Bookscan, is in graphic novels and manga, which saw a 123% increase in sales between 2020 and 2021 alone. That is a 123% increase in 1 year. That's not just a little shift. It's not just a course correction or a minor left turn or right turn. It's a silent coup. The new generation is voting with their wallets and they're saying no thanks to the traditional comic shop model. The numbers don't lie. While we're celebrating Mouse and Saga being on the New York Times bestseller list, Marvel and DC are watching their single-issue numbers crumble. Isn't it outrageous that the two companies with the most recognizable characters on the planet can't compete with My Hero Academia or Chainsaw Man in their own backyard? The North American market should be dominated by the big two, and yet they are simply taking a back seat. It's a fundamental failure of design, and the longer they ignore it, the bigger the cliff becomes. Let's talk about some of the reasons why this is happening. What's stopping new readers? Why aren't they just jumping on board the superhero gravy train? I mean, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars spent on streaming shows and movies and collectibles and everything all over the place. What's stopping them? The problem is the impenetrable barrier to entry. You have a character like Spider-Man with 60 years of continuity, and Spider-Man from inception is basically the average teenager who's now given great power and the great responsibility that goes along with it. He should be relatable to everybody. But now on top of that simple model, you've got years of continuity. You've got multiple universes and endless reboots. Imagine being a kid who loves the new Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, who is the current iteration of Peter Parker, walking into a comic shop and seeing 20 different Spider-Man titles on the shelf. Which one do you read? The answer is none of them, because none of them match what's on the big screen. The sheer volume is intimidating. You get basically analysis paralysis. You're overwhelmed by options. The history is a mountain range of information, and the lack of a clear starting point is a wall that most potential new readers simply can't climb. Speaking of the MCU, you love the MCU, right? You've watched every show and every movie, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. But can you honestly tell me the last time you bought a single-issue comic book because you watched one of those shows or films? Be honest with yourself. Why not? The answer to that question, your personal answer, is the answer to the entire problem. And before you go, leave a comment below and tell me, did any of the film versions of the MCU characters inspire you to get a comic? And if they did, tell me which one and what comic you bought because of it. Now, some folks might say, we can fix Marvel. It's not a big deal. We just need to reboot them. And the same applies for DC. Maybe just start the universe over. Do a big bang. Do a big crisis event. No, it's not just about the continuity. It's about the very business model itself. You can do a big reboot, but it doesn't fix the underlying problem. The report notes that the industry's shift to event-driven narratives has killed the one-shot story and the accessible limited series. Major events like Marvel's Civil War or DC's Flashpoint are designed to be massive, interconnected sagas spanning dozens of titles and expensive tie-in books. This forces the reader to buy multiple books just to get a single cohesive narrative. It's not a story, it becomes a scavenger hunt. It's a short-sighted cash grab, not a strategy for building a lifelong audience. The industry has decided it would rather milk its existing loyal readership dry with expensive event books rather than cultivate the next generation. It's corporate short-sightedness at its finest, a strategy that treats your most devoted fans like an ATM machine. We saw this last year and the year before in DC when they did Night Terrors and when they did Gotham War and when they did Lazarus Planet and Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, all within the time span of a single year. It was horrible. We're seeing it now in Marvel with the One World Under Doom event, with oodles of one-shots and mini-series tie-ins. None of them are worth the paper they're printed on. And the core event in and of itself is also terrible. That business model needs to end. Alright, this one might be a little bit touchy, but it has to be spoken of out loud, and we have to give it the attention it deserves. What about digital? Shouldn't digital make those services easier? The delivery of comics, the creation of comics, the distribution of comics. If you go all digital, that should be easier, right? Well, the report mentions that services like Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe Infinite offer a massive back catalog for a flat fee. This sounds great, but it's still missing the point of what modern consumers want. The problem is a significant delay in new content. You're getting all the back issues, but when new stuff comes out, you usually have to wait, or there's a lag, or sometimes there's some disconnect. According to a report by Bleeding Cool, the new release day on Marvel Unlimited dropped from 6 to 3 months. All the hype and all the buzz of a single issue is well worn out after that point. People want to be part of the buzz. They want to experience the hype. But if you have to wait even 3 months or even a single month, you lose that energy. And it's still considered an eternity in today's content economy where things are happening so fast. It's like asking a new TV viewer to wait 3 months to watch the latest episode of a hit show, or a moviegoer to wait 3 months to see the latest blockbuster. They'll just find something else to do. The industry is treating its digital library like a used bookstore, not a vibrant, up-to-date content platform. They are afraid of cannibalizing print sales, but in reality, they are simply driving away new customers. And what makes this point worse is if you look at how Viz does it with manga and many of the Shonen Jump titles, they give you everything immediately. And there is no lag, and there is no loss of readership or popularity. Now, certain titles do better than others. I'm not going to say manga is perfect, but they have a proven case study that makes millions of readers happy, and they, meaning Marvel and DC, are just choosing to do it wrong way. But let's put on our positivity hat for a second. It's not all doom and gloom. There is a glimmer of hope, and it's coming from outside the big two. The massive success of creator-owned titles from publishers like Image show that there's a massive audience hungry for compelling stories with clear beginnings, middles, and ends. They want accessibility and value. The solution is simple, but it requires a total mindset shift from Marvel and DC. Focus on accessible stories, celebrate single-issue narratives again, and stop treating your new readers like they've just failed an entrance exam. The data from the graphic novel market proves that there is a generation out there that wants to read comics. They just don't want to read their comics. The industry is at a crossroads, and it's time for them to choose between their old, dying business model and a new, more vibrant future that appeals to the coming generations. If you're tired of the same old takes on comics, if you're ready for some honest, critical analysis of the industry, then hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of readers who demand more from the industry, and every new subscriber is a signal to these publishers that we're not going away. Join the conversation below and tell me in the comments what you think is the single biggest problem facing comics today that's preventing new readers from hopping on board. So, some call it analysis, I call it a reality check. Go read comics, but read wisely. I'll see you next time for more comical opinions.